I'm Holly Joe, here with Greg.
Hi, Holly. Thanks for joining me.
Greg, so you have a free offer, right?
Yeah, I have a free offer. For years as a solo lawyer, I was outgunned by the state, and so I'm working to level the playing field.
Greg, I know you're passionate about this. How do you level the playing field?
The way we level the playing field for lawyers and criminal defense lawyers is by making them stronger, which means that they make more money, they have more resources, and so then they can really bring the fight to the prosecution.
I like that. What's your special offer?
If you're a law firm owner and you want to increase revenue, then you can join a free session with me and learn how I did it.
Wow, Greg, what is that worth?
The normal rate for that would be $775. The value of it is much greater than that. The value may be worth $5,000. There may be $5,000 worth of information just in that one session.
So how do you sign up?
If you're interested in doing the free offer, all you have to do is go to prosperatlaw.com. That's prosperatlaw.com, and there's a button on there, schedule a call with me. Or you can text the words solution to me at 843-602-5480, and I'll set up the session for you.
So that's a free session with no obligation.
Absolutely. It's just free help. I'm not trying to sell you anything. In fact, even if you wanted to sign up, I wouldn't let you do it on that call. It's just a session to help you so I can show you how I solve some of these problems.
Wow, that sounds great. I would definitely do that. You are listening to the Prosper Law Podcast. Learn how to reduce stress, have more time, and make more money. Come on in.
I'm Greg McCollum, and I built a 7-figure criminal defense law firm. I formed Prosper Law to show criminal defense law firm owners who are desperate for success how to grow from under $200,000 to $1 million and beyond.
Hi, Greg McCollum here with another edition of the Prosper at Law podcast. At Prosper at Law, we teach and coach criminal defense lawyers how to reduce stress, have more free time, and make more money. If you're interested in growing a law firm and you're frustrated and you have bad clients and you don't have a regular stream of predictable income, and that's a very important part of having a successful business, and it almost seems stupid to even say that, like, well, duh. Of course, if you have regular money coming in, your life is going to be better. And it is, because money is a tool, and money can be used to solve problems. It doesn't solve all your problems, and as you grow and you have more and more clients coming in, you have to be in a situation where you have the capacity to handle the cases. In other words, let's say your law firm does about 100 or say 120 cases a year, and that means you sign up 10 clients a month. And that means you get a set number of phone calls of people that want to hire your law firm. Some hire you and some don't. And then you want to really succeed and say you turn on some magical marketing channel, and then all of a sudden, instead of getting about 2 or 3 calls or 2 or 3 new clients a week, that may be 6 calls. Instead of getting about 1 call a day and converting about half of those, all of a sudden you go out and you buy a lot of marketing. So you get a television commercial, you got this really good social media paid campaign. You signed up for the Google pay-per-click, you've signed up for the Google LSA, and you're doing all these things to bring in the cases, and then all of a sudden, instead of getting about 10 cases a month, to use an extreme example, let's just say you sign up 50 or 100 or 150. Well, you've created a massive problem in your law firm. And you could even be in a malpractice kind of situation because you're overwhelmed. You don't have the capacity. You don't have the staff. You may not even have enough telephone lines at that point, because the call volumes could be so high that people are calling your law firm and getting a busy signal. And you could have current clients that are calling and complaining because they keep calling your law firm and getting a busy signal. So there's more to it than just marketing and sales. Obviously, you're a professional. You want to do a good job for your clients. You want to meet your standards because you have standards and you want to meet those standards. And the standards for being a licensed lawyer are very high. It's the whole concept from the rules that govern us and the bodies that oversee us is really the standard, which is crazy, is perfection. But that's the standard that you go around living by. So then all of a sudden, you just don't have the capacity. So if you do some marketing, do some things to improve your intake, improve the number of clients that you sign in a criminal defense law firm, then you start making more money. And so you're going to break your system. And there's nothing wrong with that because systems in a growing business are updated. So you break it a little bit or you break it some, and you know you're breaking it. You knew you were going to be breaking it before you started bringing in more business. So that means you're going to need more people. You're going to need a better streamlined, efficient system to handle it, to have the capacity. And those are the processes that you have. So as you grow your law firm and you increase marketing and you improve sales and you improve conversion rates and you improve the number of clients you're signing, meaning improve means you sign more, and now you need to bring in another staff member. You need to add more, the software, the management systems that you have. And all of that is just flowing back and forth. You break one thing, you fix it, then something else breaks, you fix that, something else breaks. And think of it almost like if you look at these things like the parts of a business, almost like on the face of a clock with going around clockwise. You have sales, you have marketing, then you have sales, then you have your people, then you have your processes or your factory, your how you get things done, then you have your physical space or your office, and then you have the metrics and the numbers, how you keep up with how you count your money, also how you count your client count and things like that. So as that clock turns around and each one of those things is improving, it's breaking one of those, not necessarily in that order, but for people for example, as it's growing, all of a sudden you don't have enough people. You need more people to answer the phone. You need more people to meet with clients. You need more people to do the legal work. You need more lawyers to go to court. And so that is what is happening. And so it's important to understand that. If you don't understand that, and you want to understand it, and you want to learn how to grow your law firm and make more money, then go to prosperatlaw.com, and we can show you how you can start doing that. Now, one of the things I want to talk about today, or our topic today, is just the stress of being a lawyer. And when I've done a little research on this, there's no one job that's the most stressful job in America, but being a lawyer is in the top 10, maybe top 5. Some people may consider it the most stressful. It's certainly in the top 5 or the top 3 of the most stressful. And a good friend of mine, who is now the circuit public defender for 2 counties, and is over the entire public defender system in that circuit or our 2 counties. And I remember when he was in private practice, and he had his private practice, and he did criminal defense. He also did, to pay the bills like a lot of lawyers do, he also did some family law, and he may have done one or 2 other things, but I think that was mostly it. He said to somebody who was asking him, I don't think they were asking him about his stress level. He was talking to a non-lawyer, but they were trying to talk to him about what he did, and the idea was with this person, I think we were in a bar somewhere at happy hour, that, oh, you're a lawyer, you've got it made, you don't have stress, or you make plenty of money, and unlike me, the person talking, you have a great life, and I don't know why you would complain or even be worried about things. And like his countenance, his face changed, and he said, listen, you have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know what it's like. He said, imagine this. You have a job to do, and across town, there's somebody that has an office just as good as yours, has a secretary or assistants that are just as good or better than yours. They have the same education that you have. And their job is to keep you from doing your job because of the adversarial court system. And it really struck me to think that where else do you see that? And I have a couple of examples. But we have chosen a career where other people get paid to try and prevent us from doing our job. And they're as smart as we are, maybe smarter. They've got an office as good as ours. They have just as many people working for them as we have working for us. And they have a budget just as good as ours. But even that really isn't true, because if you're a criminal defense lawyer, if you go in the district attorney's office or the county prosecutor's office or whoever your adversary is, you may have one investigator, or you may have an investigator that you can hire to help you. But they have an entire police department to help them with their case. Also, I think the DA's office here has 100, 120 employees. And if they need to, in a case, a big case that we have or any other defense lawyer has, they can pull those people and pull those resources off to work on the case against you. They also have the state crime lab, which is there to help. They have multiple lawyers, and they can easily assign, 2 or 3 lawyers to work against you. They also, if they need motions submitted and those type things, they have access to that. Also, if you're a criminal defense lawyer, you know that the judge, if he or she isn't completely on their side, he or she's certainly leaning in that direction. As a defense lawyer, we always say, well, we just want the judge to be fair. We just want the referee of the game, of the trial, to just be fair. And usually, when my experience, when a judge is defense-oriented, as they say, defense-oriented judge, that doesn't mean he rules for me every time. It just means that maybe I get, a couple of rulings out of 6. So I got 6 motions, all of which I think are valid, and some of them maybe could go either way. You could look at it and say, well, this is a toss-up. But the toss-up always goes to the state, and then the ones that I absolutely 100% should win because I'm right, if the Constitution means anything, if it's more than just words, then I lose those too. So that's what we're up against. And sometimes I think about the adversarial court system was a mistake for us to ever adopt it and implement it, because there are other systems that are cooperative, where the goal isn't to fight people, it's to try to reach a resolution. Now, I don't think it's ever going to change, and there are parts of the adversarial system that I like, and certainly when I was trying cases on a regular basis, I truly loved it, because I love the fight. I love the challenge. So other than lawyers, who else is in a profession where somebody else is trained and staffed and paid to keep you from doing your job? And if you think about, because I thought about doctors, and I think the medical profession is stressful. I think surgery is stressful. I think that working in a hospital is stressful. I think working in an emergency room is stressful. I think that's listed as a stressful occupation, and I can clearly see why. But say for a doctor, there's nobody who gets paid to try to kill the cancer patient. There's nobody that gets paid to come in the emergency room and try to kill the patient. But as you're defending somebody and trying to resolve a case for someone who's innocent or someone where the evidence simply isn't there, and if the system works like it's supposed to, they would be found not guilty or the case would be dismissed just because the standard of proof isn't there. There's nobody trying to kill the doctor's patients. So as I thought about this a little bit more, I thought, well, in a sporting event, and I'll just take, it could be anything. It could be hockey, basketball, baseball, football, but just use the NFL for an example. Now, in that situation, there is another team, the offense and the defense, they're trying to keep you from doing your job. If you're Tom Brady and you're playing quarterback, there's a very good defense on the other side that's trying to keep him from completing a pass. They're trying to keep his offensive line from keeping them out of the backfield. They're trying to stuff the run. So they're there doing exactly what I've talked about. So in a sporting event, it exists. Then it occurred to me that yes, it exists, but it's only in games. So I don't know how many NFL games are played, but I think it's 12 or 16 or something like that. So then they have to face that for about 3 hours that many times. Whereas as a lawyer, and this doesn't apply to transactional lawyers. Transactional lawyers are probably a lot happier. They may be bored, but they're probably a lot happier because if somebody's writing a will or doing a real estate closing, there's nobody that's trying to disrupt it and stop it. So this podcast in my coaching company, Prosper at Law, is designed for criminal defense lawyers. And this is one of the reasons why, because it's unique and it brings its own challenges and issues that we have to deal with. So for the NFL team, yes, there's somebody trying to stop them, but not every day. And you can say, well, the other team is practicing for the event, so they're getting ready to try to stop them, and I'll give you that. And so then I started thinking about the military. And certainly, if you're in, say, the Army and you are at war, then not only are the people on the other side, the opposing army, not only are they trying to stop you, they are literally trying to kill you, okay? But if you're in the Army, and you could be in the Army for 20 years and never be in combat. You could be in the Army and for 20 years, maybe you did, what do they call it, a tour. You do 2 tours or 3 tours where they send you into combat for a period of time, 9 months, 10 months, a year, whatever it is. But they also pull you out of combat to get you out of that so you can try to somehow recuperate, rest, and restore. But as a lawyer, you're in combat. And not, listen, I understand there's a difference between being a lawyer, defending people, and going and fighting for your country and putting your life at risk. And I'm not minimizing that in any way. And I'm not comparing in that way what we do. I'm making a comparison of somebody is literally fighting you and trying to keep your job. So if somebody's in the Army, say, for 4 years or 12 years or 20 years, the time in combat is going to be much less where they're facing that versus a lawyer who, if you have criminal defense clients, they're working against you constantly. That's what they're there for. They're there to convict your client. They're there to many times send your client to prison. They're there to hang a felony on them, and that's their job, which is to just work against you, regardless sometimes of how deserving your client may be. Now, at the same time, I've had a lot of help from prosecutors who were fair and did the right thing and helped people. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. And really, in my experience, I've gotten probably more justice, or a lot of times I can get more justice from the prosecutor than I can in court in front of a judge. But that's a whole different topic. So that is, I mean, that's it. So no wonder you're stressed, okay? Because you go get a law license and you're thrown into this. So another thing I'd like to do is just shift a little bit about getting advice and finding mentors to help you go through this. And to move forward with success, and someone told me years ago, and this was when I was investing in real estate, that find somebody who has done what you want to do and seek advice from them. And I think this individual actually said, find 3 people that have done what you want to do and seek advice from them. And when I invested in real estate, I sought advice. I read books and I learned things and I went and did it, but I really didn't have a mentor telling me about what to watch out for and what to improve. And if you know my story, you know I ended up losing the real estate in the crash of 08, 09, whenever that was. And that was preventable. But because I didn't have these mentors, and these mentors that helped me know what to watch out for and what to do, when things went bad, they went bad. And it could have been prevented. And there's a term, flying blind or whatever. I was investing and doing things, and it seemed like I was successful. My property portfolio was going up. Prices were appreciating. Everything was growing. But there was like a time bomb ticking underneath there that I didn't understand. If I had just had a couple of mentors, they would have told me that, and they would explain to me how to prepare for that. But I didn't get it. Could I have gotten it? Yes, of course, because when you go look for something, you can find it. So then shifting to my law practice, simultaneously as I'm investing in real estate, I'm doing the same thing in my law practice. I had a what looked like a good criminal defense practice. I had a couple of employees, 2 secretaries or paralegals or whatever you want to call them, and me, and we were trudging along. So I was completely in defense practice in 95. So from 95 to 2013, I was out there just like kind of in the desert with not getting any advice from people who knew what they were talking about, not learning anything, not having any real qualified mentors to show me the way. Now, having said that, I had plenty of people giving me advice. I had plenty of other lawyers. If I asked them a question, they would tell me the answer. The problem was they had not done what I probably wanted to do, even though I could not define that. I had a mindset that if I could make $250,000 a year of personal income, that was the ceiling, and that was enough money so I could endure the stress of being a lawyer. It never occurred to me that I could do better than that. I just had a very limited vision, and if I asked them questions and they had the best of intentions, they would tell me things which were not the right answer. If anything, they would say, well, you can't make money in criminal law. Get your money up front. The clients won't pay. But if you give the law 10 years, or I think the term was, if you take care of the law 10 years, the law will take care of you the rest of your life. Well, they believed that, and maybe that was true at some point, but I don't believe that's true, and it wasn't really true for me. I was just out in the desert, lost, wandering around, because I didn't know anything. And I didn't even know enough to look. And it's what I didn't know that hurt me, what I didn't know. But if you say it's what I don't know that's holding me back, it's really that I didn't know that I didn't know. So if I don't know, I'm not even looking. And the reason I'm not looking is because if I don't know that I don't know something, then there is no answer, because I don't know to even look. And this is a place where I find a lot of lawyers, a lot of criminal defense lawyers. A lot of criminal defense lawyers I talk to, they love criminal defense like I do. They're passionate about it. It's their kind of their life's calling. It's what they want to do, but they can't make a living at it. They can't make money at it, and it's incredibly stressful. And interestingly, at lunch a few weeks back, I was talking to a guy, and I was asking him about his practice, because when I was in court all the time, he was there too. He had a summary court practice or misdemeanor practice. He had a DUI practice. He did some felonies. So when we would go to these rosters, these jury trial calls and stuff, he was there. So I asked him, I said, what are you doing? Because I was thinking he was probably still doing criminal defense, and he had completely gotten out of it. And he found another area of practice dealing with other issues, civil cases. So he had basically just given up. But the interesting thing about it was that when I was where he was, and I'd never quit doing criminal defense because that's what I wanted to do, but knowing, and I should put that in quotation marks, but knowing that I couldn't make money as a criminal defense lawyer, what did I do? I invested in real estate, and the real estate investments worked. So I'm just sitting there at our little local restaurant where people eat lunch, talking to him. It's just the two of us talking. And he tells me that he had bought either a duplex or a triplex. And he was explaining how he was able to get some kind of loan for it, which put him in a category where he was able to buy the property at really a lower price. And then he was able, I think, to live in it and get a special financing because it's owner-occupied. So there's certain things you qualify when you do that. And then he's had another piece of property he was working on. So it's interesting to me because he is on the exact same path that I was on, because he's just shifting it. He's, in some senses, he's given up on making money as a lawyer. He's given up on having a successful law firm, whether it's criminal defense or anything, and finding an alternative of real estate to, take care of him so that when he can't work anymore, he's just not broke and busted. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's something that I think I would do, or someone should do, in addition to building a successful business and straightening out their law firm and straightening out their life. And then if they want to invest in real estate, I think it's a great vehicle for wealth building. And I know it is, and everyone knows it is. And so there's that. So ask yourself this: what do you want to do with your law firm? if you can figure out what you want to do with your law firm in terms of growth and reducing stress, do you know how to do that, or do you need help? And to answer the question, do you have everything you want in life? Does your law firm make you so much money that you don't know what to do with it? Or does your law firm cause stress to you? And does your law firm suck up all your time? These are things you ask. If that's where you are, if you live in this kind of cash-strapped or inconsistent cash flow life, which is stressful and uncertain, then the answer to the question is you do need help. The question is whether or not you want to seek it and change your life. Because as each year clicks by and you do nothing, the same pattern will just keep repeating itself. A key to this, though, is you have to believe that there is a better life. You have to believe that there is a system. You have to believe that there's someone that can help you. And if you don't believe it, then you're never going to take action. And that's most people. That's just the reality. Most people don't believe it. If, however, you do have a vision or you do have a belief and you want to change your life and you want our help, you can go to prosperatlaw.com and start the process of finding out what you don't know and find out how to start implementing very specific concrete things, which will start to change all that, reduce your stress, get some consistent cash flow, and have more time to do some of the things you want to do. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.
If you want to know more, go to prosperatlaw.com. We show criminal defense law firm owners how to reduce stress, have more free time, and make more money. Thanks for listening.